Decisions councillors make have that real-life impact on our communities across Wales. As a whole, on these sides of the benches, we certainly welcome today's statement and welcome support being provided to our fantastic councillors and applaud their efforts to best represent their communities. Just 3 points I'd like to pick up and expand on from your statement. And the first is in relation to flexibility. And you outline the work that's been done to ensure more flexibility for council meetings, which is, of course, welcome to encourage that broad representation and improve accessibility. However, it's crucially important that our local councillors don't lose the focus of those in-person or the in-person nature of representation as well, which is often some of the best work is undertaken in person. And regretfully, a number of councils in Wales still aren't meeting flexibly. They're insisting to only meet online and seemingly taking advantage of this way of meeting, which in my view does put a limit on democratic involvement. So in relation to this, I'd be interested in your consideration of updated guidance of how hybrid meetings could or should be conducted in councils to ensure, yes, that flexibility, which is very important for diversity, also to stop councils, and some are doing this now, stop councils from editing the proceedings of meetings and to ensure virtual behaviour is in line with in-person expectations. It was only last month we saw an example of a councillor allegedly voting whilst driving. I think that guidance will be very helpful sooner rather than later. So in terms of improving democracy and diversity in democracy, one of the biggest areas of opportunity, I believe, is in working with employers to enable their staff to carry out their role as councillors, that flexibility for workers with employers. So for my 14 years as a councillor, 10 of those years I held a full-time job, but I was lucky to work for a company which saw the benefits of my role as a councillor and allowed me the flexibility to carry out both of those roles. But regretfully, many organisations still don't understand these benefits, which make it difficult for councillors and those wanting to become councillors to carry out their role along with their day job. So a question there, Minister, is in light of this, will you work with employers to encourage them to have provision for their staff to carry out the role of a councillor, which will, of course, increase diversity? The second point to expand on, Minister, and it's an issue I've raised a number of times with you in the past, and you have certainly commented on it here today, is the abhorrent bad behaviour and abuse that many councillors and candidates receive. As you pointed out, 40% of respondents to that public survey saying they've either witnessed or experienced inappropriate behaviour by other councillors. And as you outlined in your statement, there is a risk that abuse becomes normalised and seen as part of the job, which we must not allow to happen, as it really puts people off standing for election and certainly has an impact on diversity in our council. So a question there, Minister, is what further action work do you think can be undertaken to ensure we see a reduction in this abhorrent behaviour? And the final point to expand on, Minister, is in relation to the point you raised around the level of commitment which many of our councillors put in. Because as you said on the public survey, that 63% of councillors indicated that they were available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is a great commitment and a reflection of the work put in by councillors, but I would perhaps argue is difficult expectation to sustain. And this expectation makes it very difficult for councillors and prospective councillors to juggle family life, a career, and then also representing their community. I would argue this is linked then to the number of uncontested seats, because for a lot of people it's just not a reality that they can commit to. And that's why I also think we see that demographic where nearly half of our councillors are over at the age of 60 years old. So I wonder, Minister, in light of this, whilst being proud of the work that our councillors put in, getting a balance right about the expectation of access to our elected officials, what work can be done, do you think, to ensure our younger people who want to become councillors, who are councillors, are able to have a fair expectation of the time and energy they're able to put into this role?